Okay, so real quick before this video starts, I thought I had the audio set up correctly and that you'd be able to hear one of the swing traders that's hanging out in the Discord with me. Apparently, I made some mistakes with that, so you cannot hear him. So every once in a while, it'll seem like I'm talking to someone. You should have been able to hear his voice, but you cannot. Nonetheless, I'm going to upload this anyways because it's just a fun one. I'll probably call this like a lunch break series. If you enjoy it, make sure to give the video a like, leave a comment down below, and I'll do more of these in the future. All right, and welcome to a special episode of Nobel Show. It's going to be kind of a fun one. I'm hanging out in the Discord right now with one of our senior swing traders, and well, that's messed up. Anyways, we're just going to have some fun. We were kind of talking about how different these market conditions are, how it's not really lining up with our fundamental analysis of the macroeconomics. So we're going to go ahead, take this moment, and we are going to read through Reddit, and I'm going to do some reactions. So we're on Wall Street Bets, the classic GME, where we stand with the technical analysis on GME. This is going to be boring. Fair value 225 per share TA. Can you imagine a stock like this literally gaining like billions and billions of dollars in value just because of TA? And using the options volatility. Volatility's been dropping in the market. Obviously, this will push GME to new highs. All right. More GME. I forgot. Is this going to be boring? Is this going to be nothing but GME? 18K options YOLO. This guy's loaded up on calls. Wait, is that a 950 call? You can buy 950 calls on GME? Are you serious? That's wild. I didn't even know they were selling that. These option sellers are like, what is going on? Free money shouldn't be this easy. I'm all in on GME. You know what? I think we need to do a video on how hodling can lead to crashes. As Russia moves to nationalize foreign companies exiting its market, the UK prepares to nationalize a major Russian natural gas supplier. I mean, this is... If the gas is literally coming from Russia and they just turn off the supply, you nationalized nothing. So that's kind of a... That's not how that works, folks. But there's people literally in the comments saying he played Uno reverse card. Yeah, but the supply comes from Russia, from Russian land. So unless you're gonna go over there and force them to keep it on, this is just like this is a non-starter. Anyways, I don't know how that isn't like obvious. Like you have to just critically think about it. Shop call for 422. Wait. On March 21st? So that was literally yesterday, and then sold it one day later? Wait a second. This guy heard that the Fed was going to hike up rates, and heard that maybe he heard a bunch of puts were expiring, and he's actually a genius, and said, okay, so on the reset, the market might continue to melt up, and then sold out quickly because he knows the melt up's a bunch of nonsense. Or he's a moron because he didn't sell at the 60K and he was only at 500. He's at 60K. He's still not selling and taking profits, left 10K profits on the table, which I'm going to assume if I look at the technical analysis on Shop, it's going to look ridiculous on why he didn't sell that. But he literally heard tightening monetary policy, potential recession, and he was like, you know what? I better dump my whole account into Shop calls, because this company hasn't been doing well, and because a lot of portion of their business is probably going to go bankrupt when we start tightening monetary policy and get an economic slowdown. Genius. My strategy is simple. I only buy Tesla. I sell puts to bears. That ain't half bad. Tesla is uniquely positioned to be great in this environment because they're clean energy. They benefit from rising oil prices. And if oil prices hit a certain extent, that it becomes economically profitable to drive a Tesla, and the prices of Tesla are coming down. Tesla has the least amount of shortage issues, giving them just this ludicrous moat over the rest of the automobile makers. So, word, selling puts. I don't see a problem with that. That's not as degenerative as I expected. Accepting a share buyback without any shares. Wait. I keep saying what you did out loud and can't make sense of it. Yeah. Yes. That's what happened. That's funny. Alibaba to buy up $25 billion of stock. News. I didn't know people posted news in here. This doesn't matter at all. I wonder what the comments look like on this. They're repurchasing it because it's telling that 2017 prices here. A lot of PTSD in here. Am I dumb, or does this just seem like free money? Well, I don't. Depends on what the market cap of the stock is. $25 billion of stock. Does it seem like free money? There's no such thing as free money. No such thing as a free lunch. And buying into geopolitical turmoil. I mean, we just delisted all the Russian companies. If China makes any move on Taiwan, what do you think we're gonna do? What do you think? It's like 2 + 2 types of simple. Just like investing in a country that's actively committing genocide is also just like, it's so stupid. It's like, it's not even funny at some point. All right. 322 SPY pre-market technical analysis. The big headline today is cyber attacks. Really? I didn't see anything about cyber attacks. Did you? I feel like I'm pretty in tune to the news. Assuming this is what I do. All right. Anyways, I'm just going to ignore that. Chinese firms flock to Switzerland as U.S. delisting risks room. By the way, the big headline today is still what happened yesterday with Powell and how he came out and he was even more hawkish than he was at the FOMC meeting, saying that they need to attack these inflation prices. And the market basically strong-arming Powell, saying, by the way, your 25 base point hike rate isn't going to do anything. We're going to run this shit up and force you to hike even stronger, which is exactly what the bond market's saying. Bond market's still just plowing away. And I think it's going to be bad because the Federal Reserve tends to continue to hike rates until they crash everything. And every time they argue with the bond market, it goes poorly. Chinese firms flock to Switzerland as U.S. delisting risk loom. Really? Switzerland has become a new listing destination for Chinese companies after China expanded a Stack Connect scheme last year. Okay, you know who posted this? Asia Financial? I'm not going to trust anything Asia Financial says. First of all, they don't have to. If they want investment, people can simply just go to the foreign market exchanges and buy the stocks. So, listing in Switzerland doesn't make it any easier than listing in Hong Kong index whatsoever. You still need to go, if you still want U.S. investment, you still need to go to a broker that will have international investments. Whether it's in Switzerland or whether it's in Hong Kong is literally negligible to the steps needed to have investments there. So I think this is just a normal expansion. I think that the causal explanation of what they're using here is just complete nonsense. And that should be very obvious nonsense. Boeing puts news. Another Boeing airplane has just crashed in China. This is terrible news. Comes only 6 days after Boeing delivered first 737 MAX to China since the two major news coverage crashes. I got bored reading that. Using a portfolio derived from South Park episodes. He promised to return with a graph, but never did. I took it upon myself to continue his research. Now, this is what I'm here for, Reddit. This is how you deliver. This is how you deliver. While the show definitely had its 10 baggers, I assumed the good calls on Build-A-Bear Workshop, Tesla, Apple, Sony, Amazon were just lucky, and all in all, the performance should be roughly on par with an index. Deeper dive. A very simple South Park index drastically outperforms the S&P. Now, let's think about this, though, because South Park isn't going to mention anything that's garbage. And the mistake that most of the people on this subreddit probably make is they're looking for the next Amazon. Whereas if you just buy the big names continue to be big names, and they usually continue to go up. That's the nature of markets and the consolidation of, you know, all the new tech into basically the big tech companies. So the big tech companies continue to do well. It's not surprising that South Park is probably making fun of the biggest companies, and the biggest companies are pretty much what pushes the S&P. You cut out all the fat, and then, yeah, you outperform. Crazy, right? Now, what outperformed all of this is just buying and holding energy. So, especially 1 year ago. Yeah, South Park, 35%. Yeah, energy is up 60% 1 year hold. Shout out to Meet Kevin for being for being a subpar investor, bragging about his performance with stock picking when he could have just bought and hold energy and not had to make a single video over the past year, which is what I did. Anyways, wow, I just got blessed. All right, was letting what's left of my Tesla ride, but I think it's time. What's next? Buy puts? Oh, wow. Well done. Buy and hold on a solid brand name. I don't think it's a good time to sell it, but you could probably hold that for a few more weeks minimum. And I mean, you could probably hold this long term and be fine. I don't think a lot of people think, because like, see, this guy's thought process is like, he's trying to time the market with what seems to be like a long term hold. So now he's going to pay a bunch of capital gains on this. But I think this stock could easily refine its current valuation over the next 5 years. And so he'd be better off just continuing to price average over the coming years, because markets go up. And because with the energy problems, if the energy problems actually get resolved, go to nuclear energy, it's still very bullish for Tesla. And they still hold this massive foothold. I don't think there's any real reason to sell out all your Tesla. If you're an investor, not a trader. Of course, this is Wall Street Bets, so there's probably no real investors here. Why inflation is getting under control and no amount or rate raising is going to stop it. I agree with that sentiment. Let's read if they got the right gas prices on top of your post-pandemic inflation. Two world's biggest. Yeah, we were talking about, when was this posted? 35 minutes ago. We were talking about this like 2-3 weeks ago on the YouTube. Grains prices. Okay, so this is where this person's fucking up. This is going to barely affect us in the U.S. This is very important to understand. This person might have seen this on some sort of headline, and then it was like, I'm going to write an article about it. But if you've been following us, when we first talked about this, I think 3 weeks ago now, when it first occurred, let me see, 2.5 weeks ago. The thing here is that we're still fairly fine when it comes to our food supply. We're also the least affected by the energy stuff. And I know lots of people just have no frame of reference or are not paying attention to what's actually going on in Europe. So they see this occur and they think, oh, we're going to hit with high food prices. It's like, no, Africa is going to be majorly hurt by this. And I mean, we could see mass starvation from the lack of grain. But to have, you know what? Maybe I should keep reading, because I think I just caught my eye. Let's see if they can actually break that down a little, be a little more precise. Creates production in other countries. Less easier said than done. So the issue is that, okay, let's wait. Food production required significant inputs. These tractors need diesel. These prices already skyrocketed. You need food to feed livestock, corn, and other commodities have skyrocketed. Oh, and one last thing, you need fertilizer. It's Russia. We already have a shortage of fertilizer too. Russia banned exports. Yep. Yep. Okay. Yes. All right. They did differentiate. So I do not expect prices to skyrocket in North America, actually. And expect massive rate hikes to control inflation. No. My inflation estimate 12 to 20%. That's not an estimate. That is literally that is a shotgun blast estimates. That's I'm just gonna give some big numbers and a super wide range. Time frame 90 days, very arbitrary. This will take like 6 months to plan out. This time frame is completely off base. So we're still living off of the supply that exists now. What we actually need to look for is how these seasonally get planted. So we need to think about, okay, so the next season of planting probably won't occur because of everything going on, and then we'll see all these ripple effects. Exports stop now, but there's still supply being moved around right now. So to think that this will cause issues in as short a time frame as 90 days, yes, to a certain extent. However, this starvation and these persistent issues could take much longer. It could take like 6 months. So this time frame is completely wrong. This inflation estimate is just arbitrary, nonsensical. Although I do think that there was he was doing a lot better at being more precise right here, though, by differentiating that out. So can we do anything to solve this? No, it's too late to do anything. Pretty much true. 90 days nonsense. The world operates on a 90-day supply of food. I mean, this is arbitrary, not true. How do you play this? I don't know. Well, I mean, you buy wheat futures. I mean, or you buy energy, right? It's very easy what you do here. These prices will be persistently high. When there's pullbacks on them, you do your technical analysis, you find the new ranges. I think like USO just found a new range. So then you just accumulate on the dips and then play the new ranges. It's a commodity super cycle is what it looks like it's playing out to be. I'm already bored. We're not reading that one. I want more meme stuff. Come on. Evergrande trading suspended in Hong Kong. Ron Shine auditor resigns. Evergrande update. I just don't think it's really important to be super in tune to this. Like, we know the real estate market is crashing. That's what happens when you build empty cities and don't put people in them. You just inflate your GDP for no reason and cause a bunch of issues, as we can now see. But this isn't going to collapse like we did in 2008. This is going to be a slow domino effect down. And honestly, it hasn't really been hurting in our market. Part of that could be because as international markets do worse, money flows to the U.S. because we're kind of a safe haven. A lot of other safe havens are where money like to flow, but some of the other safe havens, like Switzerland, which was mentioned earlier, actually have about over a 50% chance of a more systematic risk, which is unusual. But there's many different factors that correlate to that, though. I did a newsletter report that was based off central bank data 4 weeks ago covering that. You can check that out. Substack/Nobel Trading. All right. YOLO. I think this is terrible. We already talked about why I don't like Chinese stocks. Wait, this is the 25th? This is a weekly? What's the catalyst? Are they doing buybacks on all the stocks to try and just push them up? It's the good old China stimulus because they're doing shutdowns again. This is just ridiculous. Like, hey, they're shutting down the economy and there's a bunch of geopolitical issues. I'm going to YOLO on Chinese stocks. Oh, man, it's so stupid. What could launch cannabis and EV stocks this week? Why are these correlated? America completes Act of 22 passed the House of Representatives. It is now in the Senate and needs 60 votes to pass. It means all 50 Democrats and 10 Republicans must vote yes. This is a key piece of legislation. Providing funding for expanding development, protection of computer chips domestically. Are currently at the mercy of China among the tech sectors. So I actually made comments about this. Oh, is it? Now, see, I didn't know this. But for this part, I think Intel's a big winner right here. Screw EV stocks. And by EV stocks, this should literally just say Tesla. Because Rivian and Lucid are still having massive issues. And they don't have I don't think they have the right long-term planning either. Not so much Rivian. I'm a little uninformed on their business plan, whether they tend to use LiDAR or self-driving. I'm not as informed on that, although there's still a plethora of issues with that company. If you've been following my training or the Discord, we shorted them from all the hype, like from $100 to like $30 or $35, whatever it hit. But this should literally just say Tesla, not EV stocks. And for chips, I think Intel's a big winner. Intel, several years ago, they got that new CEO that came in. That CEO was like, yo, we're going to invest. Since we can't compete on the tech side, we're going to compete on production because we see the weaknesses in the supply chain issues. And I mean, this is such brilliant foresight on their part. And I just think that Intel could, in a few years, be in that dominating position again. Like, such a smart move. So this, whatever Tesla was going to win anyways, Intel, I think it's just going to sneak up because of that Safe Cannabis Banking Act. So here's the thing about the cannabis companies is that as soon as there's federal legalization, what you have to start thinking about is the margins that these companies operate at. And at the end of the day, the tobacco companies are going to outcompete all the cannabis companies because they're going to be able to produce things. They're the best farmers, absolute best farmers. And they're just going to produce everything at such a cheap valuation that it's going to outcompete the black market, something that the current companies cannot do because of, they have to import everything. They have to follow all these different regulations in different areas. And it's too hard for them to compete. As soon as legalization occurs, I'm going to be looking at the tobacco companies, not the cannabis companies. Although there are nice like little niches like Maps, which is the Weed Maps, which is an app, which is more like a technology company. Fundamental analysis there, excellent. They do way better than Google ads. All the cannabis companies, like the tobacco companies, when they start producing and they start driving out all these pure cannabis plays, they're going to want to use applications like that, which help you find where the providers are. I think I'm very long on that company, and I'm not very long on the actual pure play cannabis companies. Something to consider. All in on Rivian. My shorts never were even down for a minute. To be fair, I've closed those shorts, and I do think that there is a certain point at which this company becomes a good buy. I don't think we've hit it yet. Have you all quit Robinhood yet? That young boy from Bulgaria still has your loyalty, or did you close all your accounts with Robinhood and open elsewhere? This is just like a rant, I guess. Is this a butthurt guy who's been shorting Robinhood? I owe nearly $500,000 in capital gains tax for 2021. However, I lost all of my money at the beginning of this year. What can I do? Oh my gosh. I am not a tax expert. I cannot comment on this. Crash Boeing has been flying since 2013. Buy calls. Well, I did not expect Reddit to be so big on Boeing. Isn't that like the third Boeing post? Everyone loves Boeing. It's a defense stock during geopolitical turmoil. You can also buy DFEN, which is heavily allocated to Boeing. It's DFEN. And it's leveraged. Shouldn't you apes love that? What is this? Why am I imagining some guy on like his porch in Taiwan just with like binoculars just posting these when he sees those? There's a website that tracks these. I don't know it. I don't have it pinned. But every once in a while I'll track it down just to look at it. But there's a website that tracks every single time a Chinese aircraft flies into Taiwanese territories or international waters. And you can always look into that. Well, does that mean anything? No. The historical reference there is way back in the day when China was wanting to make moves on Taiwan. Bill Clinton sent the U.S. Navy over there, and China was like, whoa, that's a big Navy. And Clinton was like, that's right, back off. China backed off. And then Biden did the same thing very recently, and China's only continued to escalate their flights. And I tend to not look at that data too often because it upsets me, because I don't like it. And but I stay aware that it's happening because I have to. Okay. 400K bet on oil bullets. By the way, I don't think that's really indicative of a threat. I think it's just indicative of how much less China is afraid of us. They actually have a bigger Navy than us. Now, the tech and the size of the ships, much smaller, slightly worse. But by the simple quantitative measurement of how many ships they have produced, it is a larger Navy than the U.S. Navy. Keep that in mind. So when we sent our Navy over this time, they were like, whatever. 40K bet on oil, bullets, wheat. Now we're 500K. Yo, why is this person on the Reddit? This is my friend. What is that username? Wait. Oh, it's Vegas seller. Okay, I thought this is, I guess, a staple or a label people could get. This is a trader. BlackRock crisis. I don't know the stock. And I'm assuming they mean the broker. Not the giant investment company that owns literally everything. I thought about doing a video. If you want me to do a video on BlackRock and how they pretty much own everything, I can. I just feel like that there's dozens and dozens of videos that cover how BlackRock owns everything. I mean, literally just type in BlackRock owns everything. Enter. And I mean, there's just video after video after video after video, and they all say the same exact thing. I'm not really a big fan of doing videos like that. Bullish on Apple, baby. Okay, so here's why you shouldn't be bullish on Apple. Hear me out here. The instant we have some sort of conflict with China, or China decides, hey, you know what? We want to be a world contender, and Huawei already makes good stuff. And we just, at the instant they decide no Apple products, Apple loses half of its evaluation literally overnight. And to think that that is just a possibility and not an inevitable thing that will occur in the future, given how China acts with controlling business. I mean, they've already been playing unfair games with Tesla. They've been playing unfair games with Apple. But as their technology catches up to these companies, if you don't expect them to ramp up that unfair play, you're literally like just you're one of the three blind mice. Because I mean, it's not a far leap whatsoever. I know being a bear, everyone is a bull sucks. I don't like being a bear, but looking at the daily chart of QQQ, it's hard to think we don't see a price retracting after the massive bull run from last week. You know, when was this posted? 11 hours ago? Seeing as the risk is today. A move lower this week could offer another good entry point for hopefully a longer bull run. This is not technical analysis. This is absolute trash. Yeah. Fair comment. This is so stupid. It makes my head spin. It's going up, so now it should go down. And when like it's gone down more, it should be a good opportunity to go up. Why? Because stocks move. Love it. I'm about to F all you bulls up by buying calls. This guy has a label that just says sucks. I don't know why I enjoy that so much, but I do. It just says sucks. GME looks like a huge short cover. One giant green candle. Get your puts ready. Oh, gosh. Tesla Power Hour will be epic. By the way, the fundamental thing with not playing stocks like GME or AMC, which you will not see me do, is I like doing strategies that are repeatable so that I can have longevity in my trading. So, sure, there's a huge argument for, well, why don't you just play on the opportunity that arises in front of you? And I would say because then it leads to gambling. Because then you get the huge serotonin pump of, oh, well, maybe it's going to do it again. Even though there's no, and if it goes poorly, what do? If it goes wrong, and here's the thing. I have a set strategy for my trading. I stick to that strategy for my trading. When it goes wrong, I can look back and say, that's why it went wrong. I can make a note of it and hopefully improve my strategy so that in the future, I am an even better and more precise trader. If I gamble on something like GME and it goes badly, what do I write down? Whoops, meme stock. That's not how you get longevity at this. It's silliness. Who types stuff like this? This is one of those Twitter bots. Looks like GME 265. Option Yellow Guy is a fortune teller. That or he got all of Reddit just excited and pumped it with his. What does this go to? Why? GME calls for a quick 10 bagger. Hopefully, I didn't paper hand. Take your profits and go home and don't come back. Just be happy. You know what's ridiculous about this environment is it's like toxic towards things that are like sensible, and then it's like celebratory of things that are like obviously dangerous. Yeah, like it's so terrible. And people scroll through this all day thinking that they're going to get solid information. It's terrible. Okay. Well, that's been it for reading through subreddits. I think I spent far too long on this. It was but fun lunch break. We're going to go back to trading. Remember, if you check out the link in the bio, you can visit the Discord and you can trade alongside us. And you can hear me cough just like that yourself in the Discord stream. Holy cow. I'm going to get some water. I'll see you on the next episode.